Greetings to all of you viewers. The topic I have for you today is recruiting embezzlers, corruptors, and dishonest people within government organizations in African countries. Let me repeat it again. Recruiting embezzlers, corruptors, and dishonest people within government organizations in African countries. First and foremost, I would like to tell you who I am. I am who I am. And that is, I am a bloody honest person you will always fail to corrupt, whose discipline might look indisciplined to you because of your corrupt soul. I am a man who loves his nation and the citizens of his native country. Because of I love my country and I love the citizens of my native country, I will always say no to embezzlement of public property, the recruiting of embezzlers, corruptors, dishonest people within government organizations in African countries. Some will consider you as a fool just because of you have national interest. Because of you love your nation in heart and you always die for your country just because of the national interest that you have. The corruptors and the embezzlers and the dishonest people you work with within government organization will always consider you a fool. Those greedy embezzlers, because of their greediness that lead them to embezzlement, will lead them to total failure. Many a times, we do witness greedy people have a bad ending in life. They always get to total failure because of their greediness. If I should give you example, I would quote men like Modou Jarra of Congo. With all his embezzlements, it does not take him to any veil. People like Samuel Doe of Liberia. With all that embezzlement, he ended up being a total failure. People like Charles Taylor, you name them continuously, they all end up being in total failure. Nobody will succeed in greediness. So for that being the case, whoever is embezzling public property or public fund within government organization should desist from such act. Otherwise, you will also be a total failure at the end. You will never rob a nation or embezzle a nation and succeed. It will always lead you to a total failure. We have some educational madness within educated people in government education, in government organization. Let me repeat it again. We have educational madness within educated people working in government organization. Their education does not take them to anywhere. It leads them to total failure. If I should take sample, the 1994 Al-Ghali Commission and the Janneh Commission, we do see educated people, how they end up in these two different commissions. Where is their education? Where is their intelligence? Where is all those degrees, those masters, those PhDs? How do they end up? Total failure. Let us desist from educational madness. It always takes us to total failure. If you are educated, we expect you to deliver to expectation. We expect you to be very productive in government organization. We expect you to come out with good strategic plans that will take the nation forward. We expect you to cut costs. We expect you to spend productively, but we don't expect you to embezzle public property. We don't expect you to ruin the organization. We don't expect you to be dishonest to the level that the government organization will end up declining just because of your dishonesty and embezzlement. Going back to the topic, as I said, recruiting embezzlers, corruptors, and dishonest people within government organization in African countries. This is what is dragging Africa backward. This is what is ruining Africa as a continent. Recruitment should be done correctly. The right applicants should be selected through recruiting process in order to fill the right position, put the right person in the right place. We don't need putting a round peg into a square hole that will never be fitted. If you help somebody to be employed with a forged certificate, you are recruiting a dishonest person who will remain dishonestly throughout his career in that particular organization. If you recruit somebody through forged certificate, that person will end up embezzling the public property through his or her entire career in that government organization. If you appoint somebody corruptly, you are telling that person that this organization is a corrupt organization. Corruption has a room in this organization. That person will continue to be corrupt throughout his career in that particular organization. If you appoint somebody dishonestly, that person, you are telling that person that this organization has a room for dishonesty, and that person will remain to be dishonest throughout his career in that particular organization. What is our problems, we the blacks? What is our problems? Don't we want good for our people, for our nation? Our religion tells us to behave perfectly. Our religion tells us to do good. Our national constitutions tell us to conduct perfectly. Our national constitution tells us to behave good. Why are we diverted from that and do the contrary? It's high time for Africa to give the lead to honest people, people who are efficient, competent, and effective. Corruption is killing us. Corruption is killing our people. Corruption is ruining our nation. In the hands of corrupt politicians, in the hands of corrupt leaders. Don't we have a heart for our people, for our country, for our continent, Africa? Don't we love our people? Why do we enjoy our people being suffer because of our dirty hand? Why do we sit and watch happily our people are dying of absolute poverty? Why do we love to watch that? Absolute poverty is killing our people because of the misconduct of our corrupt leaders in Africa. The African citizens have cried a lot in the hands of corrupt African leaders. But I will tell you one thing. The evil men do live after them. Your happiness in the future is determined by how you behave towards your fellow African citizens, how you behave towards your fellow national citizens. That determines your happiness in the future. If you behave corruptly, badly towards your national citizens, your future will always be bad for you. You will always have a bad future. You will never laugh at the end. You will shed tears at the end. There is a great reward in honesty. There is a great reward in straightforwardness. There is a great reward in doing good. Let us take a particular example of the 1994 Alkali Commission in the Gambia. Through the military regime under Chairman Jammeh, there were 3 honest people. There were 3 straightforward people. There were 3 good people during the Jawara's regime. They took them to Alkali Commission and they were found honest, straightforward. People like Bibi Dabo, Bakari Bunja Dabo, people like Alkali James Gay, people like Mr. Sao. Even a single butut, they don't steal it from the government kufa. Even a single butut, they don't embezzle it from the government kufa. That was how these three honest people get a reward from the Alkali Commission. The Alkali Commission, Justice Alkali, was very amazed. He said that was for the first time in the African history a minister is found 0 embezzlement from government kufa. That day was very amazing. Let us imitate them so that we will have a good future. Let us imitate them so that our people will get rid of absolute poverty. National resources of a nation is a sovereign property of its citizens. It shall never be embezzled or be stolen by anybody. He who is appointed through government organization is a servant to the public. Is a civil servant to the public. Is there to serve the public. Why this corruption? Why all this corruption in all aspects of government activities? Don't we have a good heart towards our people? Don't we dream to do good to our people so that they have a very conducive environment to live? If you look at this HR system of our government organizations, many are being jammed because they were overdue for promotions and they are not promoted. Some of them, they even remain jammed for 5 to 6 years or even more than that. What is wrong with the HR system? What is wrong with the director of that particular department? What is wrong with the senior manager of that particular department? What is wrong with the junior manager of that particular department? Why do you love to sit and watch your people, your junior officers being due for promotions? You neglect them until they got jammed 3 to 5 to 6 years or even above. Why do you sit and enjoy watching that, Mr. Man? Don't you have a good heart toward your subordinate? Would you like your child to be treated like that? Would you like your brother to be treated like that? A sauce for the goose is a sauce for the gander. What is good for you should be good for another person. What is bad for you should be bad to another person. Let your dislikes be dislikes to others, and let your likes be likes to others. The competent staffs are being suppressed in many government organizations today. What crime do they committed? They didn't commit any crime just because of they have the good qualifications. For that being the case, it sounds as a threat to their senior officials, and they decided to suppress them so that they will not grow, so that they will not benefit from the good educations that they have, so that they will remain suppressed throughout their career. What is wrong with the HR department? What is wrong with the backups that are kept at the HR department? What is wrong with the resumes that are being kept at the HR departments? Why do some HR departments allow the qualified staffs to remain in total suppression throughout their career? Why do head of departments allow that to happen? Why do they sit and watch that to happen within their junior staffs? What kind of heart do we have? This is a big pity. It's very amazing for Africans to treat his fellow Africans like that. The culture of silence is a high time for we Gambians to break it. The complaints that I do receive from people who were jammed, from people who got the qualifications but they are not given the chance, they are suppressed in their place of work. Let us help the coalition government to succeed. If this government succeeds, the entire Gambia will succeed. If this government fails, the entire Gambia will fail. How will you expect success under a government that governs you, if it fails, how would you expect success? The government that governs you, if it fails, you are also failed. The government that governs you, if it succeeded, you also succeeded. Why don't we use our brain wisely? Why don't we think with our brain? God has given us the bait for us to cogitate positively with it. Let us try to cogitate positively. What is our problems? What is our problems, we blacks? When we read how they treat us in the past, when we read that part of history of blacks, the time that they enslaved our people, we all feel very bad about that. But there are some, they don't feel very bad about it. They just pretend to feel bad about that sad story of enslaving our people during the colonial days, during the slave trade days. They just pretend to be sad, but they are not sad. Let me just give you a proof that you have pretenders that pretend to be sad when they see black people suffering, but they are just pretending. They are not sad at all. It's this present conditions whereby some African countries do send their citizens to these Arab wars for them to be served as maids. They are killing some of them. They are torturing some of them. They are putting some of them in bondage. They will work 5 to 10 to, or even 11 or even 15 years without any wage, without any payment, without efficient food. They condemn them from communicating to their people. Why do we repeat what happened before? Why do we repeat slavery to our own people? Why are we sending our people to this Arab world for them to keep them as a slave girls? Why do we enjoy that? If you get to the social media, you see videos of African girls being held as maids, being held as slaves, being tortured, being raped, being killed in this Arab world. But still we are sending our African citizens to this Arab world for them to go and enslave them. Why do we sit and enjoy that? If we have regretted how they enslaved our people in the past, if we have regretted how they colonized us in the past, why do we repeat such action? Why do we repeat such mistakes today? They are pretenders. They don't have a good heart for Africa. I'm very hurt for that being the case. I will stop at this juncture until the next episode because my heart is full. I don't want to shed tears before you. But it's very, very sad. Let us go and sit and think well, you the African leaders. We have to change our course. Otherwise, poverty will kill our people. Poverty will ruin our people. Corruption will destroy our nation. Embezzlement will set us back, total backwards. Let us try to lead our people into good. Let us lead our people to liberation. Let us lead our people to freedom. Let us use the national cover to develop the lives of our people. Let us use the national cover to bring standard education in Africa. Let us use our national cover to give access to pure water to our entire people. Let us use our national cover to eradicate poverty in Africa.